But we didn't want to just create a restaurant that was typically only Chinese barbecue. We wanted to open a restaurant that was both a Chinatown barbecue, but also an ode to Southern barbecue. I mean, Carolina is the birth of whole hog and pork heavy and like mustard Q, and that's like very much similar to what Chinatown barbecue is, right? So you won't find any beef in Chinese style barbecue. It's always pork heavy, poultry heavy. So it just felt like it melted together perfectly. Hi there, my name is Shuai Wang. I am the chef and owner of King BBQ. We've been here in North Charleston, South Carolina for we're still young, we're only 2 years old. But you know, we love North Charleston. It's working class, it's, I don't know, it's just quirkier and more diverse and kind of away from the hustle bustle of downtown, which, it's like, yeah, just kind of more my vibe, you know. So why don't we go on in and take a tour of the restaurant. So this building, just a little history, we love a building with a lot of history. So this used to be, for a long time, the original Post and Courier ad agency for like 40 years. And then this side was a diner for a long time. That side was a church for a long time. Just so many good history behind this building. And you know, there's just something to be said for a building that's been standing for so long, you know, after decades and decades. So we're very happy that we gave it a new home and a new facelift. But let's go on in. So this is our custom built bar. All the roof has been shipped in from Beijing, China. It was custom made just for us. Same with the paneling on the bar, and we sourced all our lanterns all over the restaurant, also from China. We wanted to create a space that was reminiscent of all the classic Chinese barbecue restaurants in South Carolina, which, you know, most of that we visited, like classic places like Bessinger's, are all old school booths. But we wanted to bring a more Asian vibe to it, so, you know, we painted like that really dark jade green, a lot of features to make it more look like a Chinatown restaurant, but still have that Southern feel. Thus the style of ordering here, which is more counter service versus table service. Just trying to do like all the old school Southern things, but also kind of give it a little bit of that, you know, Chinese vibe, like that Chinatown barbecue vibe. But yeah, this is our baby. And then we have a gorgeous patio outside. It's like one of my favorite spots to hang out. It's got great shade. I don't know, just when the weather is perfect outside, this is where I want to hang out, you know. But yeah, you know, like, who doesn't love a good barbecue and a little bit outside time? So, we have a full bar with lots of cocktails, frozens. We wanted to make sure that this wasn't just a typical barbecue restaurant where, you know, just beer and whiskey or whatever the traditional barbecue restaurants are. We have a very fun cocktail menu from our really talented bar manager, Tia. That's just, yeah, like, we call all of our food kind of trashy fancy, and so is our cocktails, because it's like, I don't know, I feel like food and cocktails should be fun, and the whole experience should be fun. It shouldn't just be either too stuffy or like too laid back, you know? So it's kind of mixture of the perfect both. Let's go on back to the kitchen. Actually, first I want to show y'all the hallway of this bathroom. There are about 3,000 Chinese little tassels hanging up there with jade above it. My wife and I put all this together ourselves, spent at least 2-3 days underneath like our kind of dining room table, just threading these. It weighed so much that we had to have like 6 people to lift it up into the ceiling to get it up there. But it's one of like really fun features that I really love. I don't think you see anywhere else. Let's get on back here. Coming in. So this is our kitchen. We have a pretty big kitchen here. There's always a lot going on between regular service, sometimes catering. This is our CDC, Chef Brendan Jones. But yeah, we have, it's always lively in here, it's always busy, and I don't know, there's a lot of really good looking barbecue in here as well. Some of our very talented line cooks. You know, people always say it takes a village, and it really does here at King BBQ. There's so many different little elements between back to house, like working kitchen, prep kitchen, smokehouse, and then front of house. Like it just takes so many people to run this place, and we have a lot of really amazing and great staff here to do that. Let's head on back to the smokehouse. This is our prep extraordinaire, Donnie. He does all of our prep here. We wouldn't have food without Donnie, basically. Yeah, a little big prep room, and this is the where all the magic happens, the smokehouse. So we like to, we looked at a lot of smokers. Kevin, that's our pit cook extraordinaire, Kevin there. But we looked at a lot of different smokers when we built this smokehouse. You know, there's traditional Texas style pits. There are the rotating pits. There's so many different kinds out there. We decided to go with the old school Langs. Lang barbecue smokers obviously been around for a very long time. It's full cast iron from head to toe, down to the wheels. They weigh like a ton, but the reliability on these are pretty amazing. So if you don't know much about smokers, a lot of the Texas style smokers, you will load your wood on one side and your chimney will be over here. So what it does is it travels all the heat and the smoke directly up this way and through the chimney. So you get hot spots like right here and right here by the chimney. What the Langs are, the hot box, the smoke box, and the chimney are on the same side. So what happens is that the smoke and the heat travels below this metal plate right in here, comes around, back up this way, and then shoot up this way. This is called reverse flow. And it kind of regulates for me personally, it regulates the heat a little bit better. And there's different hot spots in here. There's constantly a lot more rotation, which is you don't see a lot. You don't have to do a lot of with the regular Texas style smokers. But with that being said, this produces an excellent like pork rib, duck, butts. Like the quality on these are just very, very different. You know, a lot of smokehouses, depending on like what region that you're cooking the barbecue, you know, there's a lot of people use hickory, a lot of people use apple, pecan. We tend to use all either white or red oak. It just produces just enough smoke to give it that nice smoky flavor of a barbecue meat, but it doesn't overtake all the other flavors of the product that we're smoking. Especially like, you know, we're going for like all those Asian flavors. So we don't want the smoke to kind of overpower the marinades, the rubs. So we use just like a very neutral smoking wood that just give it a nice smoky, nice ring, but won't overpower our barbecue. Yeah, we have 3 of these big boys, but we kind of rotate 2 at a time. Today we got a bunch of stuff on. Bunch of turkey in here. We're smoking turkey. That's went on the menu today. My wife's from Buffalo, and we like Italian subs are so big in Buffalo. So this is kind of an ode to the Buffalo style Italian subs. So slow smoked turkey that we shave. We put on a hoagie roll with onion, lettuce, tomato, Duke's, hot pepper relish, Italian vinaigrette, like all the shebang. the full shebang, and it's pretty freaking good with the smoked turkey. So we got turkey here. We got some duck and butts in here. If you were here earlier in the day, there was way more butts and duck legs and breasts, but because of different hot spots, we rotated some of the already cooked ones out. So some of the ones that are not cooked yet, we're gonna put it towards closer to the chimney so this heat can really get to it and renders it really nicely. The butts will go for at least like 6 hours. Then we'll stick it in the auto sham and let it finish overnight. The ducks, just it's hard to time everything, especially with the langs. It's not like we can just set it and forget it kind of thing. And also just barbecue in general is not about that. Barbecue is so involved that you have to always constantly check every single piece of meat, just make sure they're consistent. And I always tell my cooks that consistency and quality above all, right? I rather throw a whole butt out that's not cooked perfectly, or either over or under, or use this for something else, and rather than serve that to the customers, because that's just not what it's about. We all know like things cost a lot of money these days, and you spend your good money, your hard-earned money to go out to eat. You don't want to eat something that's not 100%, right? So we take pride on quality over here. There's some more duck breasts over here. We smoke our duck breasts separate from our duck legs. They're all bone on to make sure that the duck is super juicy. But obviously, the breast takes a lot less time to cook, and then the duck leg takes longer because you want all the collagen, all the fat, all the protein kind of break down a little bit more. So yeah, this is the first time I've ever cooked barbecue. I went to culinary school. I cooked a lot of classic American, old school French for a long time in New York City. And when we moved down south, we opened Jackrabbit Philly, our first restaurant. And that's very much inspired by my mom and grandma. And it's just like small plates and shared plates, tons of local ingredients. But barbecue and Jackrabbit came about because I missed the barbecue that I used to get in Chinatown growing up in New York. The hanging ducks and the roast pork and the cha shao, like ribs that's in the window. But we didn't want to just create a restaurant that was typically only Chinese barbecue. We wanted to open a restaurant that was both a Chinatown barbecue, but also an ode to Southern barbecue. I mean, Carolina is the birth of whole hog and pork heavy and like mustard Q, and that's like very much similar to what Chinatown barbecue is, right? So you won't find any beef in Chinese style barbecue. It's always pork heavy, poultry heavy. So it just felt like it melted together perfectly. We do all the classics, right? Like duck is always on the menu, ribs is all on the menu on both restaurants, both Southern barbecue restaurants and Chinese barbecue restaurants. And then we do the butts, and then one of our other favorite things we'll see later is that our crispy roast pork belly is super big for us too. That item is not smoked at all, but it's such a classic Chinese barbecue item that we have to do this on the menu. But yeah, we're still learning every day, especially me. Barbecue takes a very long time to kind of get perfect. There's pitmasters out there that's been cooking for decades, and I'm still very fresh and new. I don't really see us as a barbecue restaurant. I see us as a Chinese restaurant that just makes really pretty damn good smoked meats. So, and that's King BBQ for you. So a little history about me. I started cooking right out of college, basically. I went to culinary school, graduated culinary school, started cooking right away in New York City. Cooked in New York for almost 10 plus years. Cooked all kinds of different things. Worked at a steakhouse for a while. A lot of new American, a lot of French. My last 2 years was spent cooking this Japanese French izakaya, which I learned a lot from. But eventually I felt burned out in New York, just the hustle and bustle, the hours, and decided to move, and just happened to ended up in Charleston, and it was just gorgeous down here. My wife and I started a food truck just because we thought that would be really fun to kind of drive around, all of the city, kind of figure out eventually where we want to open our restaurant. And we did that for a very long time, kind of outgrew it. Opened Jack Rabbit Philly here in North Charleston, and bought the house right here in North Charleston as well. So we enveloped this neighborhood. But yeah, we had one restaurant we literally opened right before the pandemic. I think it was 3 months before this pandemic is when we opened Jack Rabbit Philly. And then that all went downhill very quick for everybody, obviously. And but we got through it. We ran the restaurant very successfully, and it was super fun. My first restaurant ever, and felt so proud of it. But we had all these really talented cooks, right? Very talented cooks, chefs, front of the house people, and we thought, well, if we want to keep them on board for a very long time, the best thing we can do for them, in order for them to grow, is open a second restaurant. So we started thinking about, okay, what restaurants do we want to do next? Because we always have like a million and one ideas, right? We had ideas about doing a raw bar. We had ideas about doing like a Chinese style diner. And then we thought, oh yeah, well, why don't we do barbecue, right? Because barbecue, even though there are so many barbecue restaurants down in South Carolina already, in Charleston itself, and some really amazing ones like Home Team, Swig and Swine, Martin's, Bassinger's, Duke's, but there was just always, that need or craving for Chinese food, for a lot of expats here, or people that have been in the service who moved around a lot in the world. So I was like, well, my wife and I also miss just Chinatown style barbecue. When I was growing up in New York, back in the days, my parents used to take my sister and I to Flushing, New York, which is like the Chinatown of Queens. We would always go to the barbecue restaurant, get like a pound of roast duck, a pound of soy sauce chicken, some cha shao, which is like the roast pork, and that was every weekend. This was so good. But I haven't had that in so long. It's so hard to get that down in Charleston. And so we decided, let's just open a Chinese barbecue restaurant. But it's like, well, we're down south. Let's not open something that's just so typically Chinese barbecue, right? Because this is not our style. Like Jack Rabbit Philly is Chinese food, but it's nowhere near Chinese food at all. It's the complete opposite of that. So for a long time, we were thinking about, okay, what do we do, right? Do we just do classic Southern style barbecue, but then add Asian flavors to it? Do we just smoke a whole hog, but then add like a bunch of soy sauce or whatever? But it's like, well, we thought about it long and hard, and we did pop up for probably almost a year and a half, just cooking all these different dishes, trying to figure out the perfect combination of both how we represent Chinatown barbecue and Southern barbecue, right? I wanted to make it so special, but I didn't want to make it in a way where it felt gimmicky, right? I didn't want to just put a barbecue egg roll on the menu and be like, oh, hey, this is an egg roll. Everyone and their mama makes barbecue egg rolls, right? So it took a very long time to kind of nail down that, okay, Chinese flavors and techniques, but as well as Southern barbecue techniques and smoking techniques. Because there's a lot of similarities in both, right? If you go to any of the old school barbecue places in mainland China, you'll see that roast ducks and Peking ducks and roast pork, all this stuff is all cooked with coal, right? Not necessarily wood for smoke, but just coal to get that nice coal flavor on your barbecue meats. So the similarities were very close. So, well, if those techniques are very similar, it's just kind of incorporate smoke onto Chinatown style barbecue. So it's still very much a learning process. We've been open for pretty much almost 2 years now, and I think we're still constantly tweaking. Either it's like we were just talking about 2 days ago, the roast pork belly. We've been working on that roast pork belly for 2 years now, and I still think we need a lot more work. Now, obviously it does, because people, masters who do Chinatown style barbecue or Southern barbecue has been doing it for decades, and we're just still 2 years in. So we're trying to figure out all our little things and quirks just trying to provide a product and experience that's just, I don't know, I want it to be one of those dining experiences that you don't get anywhere else in all of the States. I want to, I think, proudly say that we're one of the very first few barbecue restaurants that is not just, you know, old school barbecue, but not also just Chinatown barbecue. It's literally a perfect combination of both. I think a lot of people do like, yeah, there's like all these different barbecue restaurants that do like smoked ribs, but then they'll garnish with like Asian flavors or whatever other different flavors, but no one's actually taking the time to kind of, I think, you know, like for our ribs for existence, right? For instance, like it's cured in 5-spice and mix, and then also from that point on, it also gets the sweet and like sweet and savory Chinatown like style barbecue meat glaze on there. We finish it in that. So it's like it's doing like we're literally doing both like southern smoking techniques and all these Asian flavors, which is all very exciting. And again, yeah, like we just recently changed the menu, just because like again we're always constantly evolving and learning and just kind of better ourselves to provide really amazing barbecue. And honestly, it's been very fun. I've been cooking for a very long time now. I've been in Charleston for 10 years and New York for 20 years. I think I've been cooked almost 20 years in my career. But this is fun because it's something that I've never done before. Learning to smoke things in a smoker, especially a reverse smoker like that. So it's a lot of like very fun things. The learning process hasn't stopped, which is very exciting for me. Just because I don't know, food is. I always tell my line cooks always stay very curious. You know, like always ask questions, always learn. And I think being in barbecue has opened that door for me so much because this is a whole different world that I haven't experienced before. And yeah, I just can't wait to see how we started and how we evolve into the next few years. So, but yeah, that's King BBQ, and let's eat some barbecue actually. So this whole set here is called our Chinatown Delight. It's one of our menu items on the menu. It's Chinatown Delight because it kind of highlights all the classic Chinatown barbecue items. So there's ribs, there's crispy pork belly, there's duck and chicken, which is all the very classic Chinatown things you get, right? You always get some kind of Chinese style barbecue, either rib or just straight, it would be like a pork steak, you know? Crispy roast pork is always a must get. Poultry is always big in Chinatown barbecue, so a lot of times either roast chicken or soy sauce chicken. This is a 5-spice rotisserie chicken that we're very proud of. And then lastly, duck is so essential in Chinatown barbecue. Most of the time it's like roast half ducks, but what we do, again, we saw in the smoker earlier, this is a smoked duck. It comes with both all poultry in Chinatown barbecue restaurants, come with scallop and ginger relish, and that's kind of exactly what this is. As far as where sides goes, this is some dan dan noodles. There's made with very thin egg noodles. The style of noodles is very, again, just super classic Chinatown. It's made with like a spicy dan dan sauce, that's sesame based. This is kind of an ode to the South, and it's like a really fun marinated pea side. It was inspired by Chef Ashley Christensen. One of my favorite salads is her pea salad, your field pea salad. So this is kind of an ode to that. Has local field peas, charred corn, has this poblano vinaigrette in here that's delicious. And then this right here is a side of the barbecue kind of collard greens. We have it Szechuan style. Again, just like an ode to both Southern and kind of a lot of Asian flavors in there as well. So our sides are some really fun sides. I feel like very different than your typical barbecue restaurants. We spend a lot of time researching and just recipe testing because we didn't want to just do like a mac and cheese or standard collard greens or, you know, which is I feel like every restaurant has and it's fantastic, but like I want to be very different. So our noodle option on the menus instead of mac and cheese is this delicious dan dan noodle, and then which has blanched wonton noodles in there, and the sauce has a mixture of like tahini, soy sauce, Chinese black vinegar, chili crisp, a little bit of sugar in there, so it's like tangy, spicy, Just think about like your favorite like peanut noodle. It's kind of like those flavors, but have a little bit of Szechuan kick to it. It's very lightly spicy. Collard greens, you can't be in the South without knowing how to cook some good greens. I think you get kicked out of town for not knowing how to cook good greens. And so these are collard greens that we cook down of ginger, scallion, garlic, lots of soy sauce, a little bit of our vinegar Q in there, Chinese fermented bean paste, which is very typical in like a mapo tofu. A little bit of Szechuan peppercorns in there as well. On top, you get garnished with a little house chili crisp and more Szechuan peppercorn dust. So it's got like that, and there's a bunch of barbecue meats chopped in there too. So our leftover the day before, like butts, we'll throw it in there. So it's like very umami, lots of deep soy flavors, and then you still get a little of that kind of reminiscence of like a good collard green, southern style, because it's got that rich, fatty barbecue meats and fats in there, and the greens are just super tender. And then again, lastly, this pea salad, local blanched field peas that's been poached in like a stock with like water, garlic, ginger, onions, and then it's mixed with a little bit of roasted corn that we shuck in house, and it's coarse seasoned right now actually. The poblano vinaigrette is like tangy with like roasted poblanos, lots of lemon juice, vinegar, and olive oil. If you've never had Ashley Christensen's pea salad, I feel like you should have it. This is I loved it so much that I was like, I need to have that on the menu. It's very similar, close enough to kind of flavor profiles of that. And then yeah, let's get into our barbecue meats. So really fun barbecue meats here. Again, I was trying to, what I was explaining before about the perfect combination of all the different proteins, but then having that Chinatown style flavors, but also having that southern smoke techniques, right? Like our chicken, let's go into the things that we don't smoke, right? Our 5-spice rotisserie chicken, it's been brined in a 5-spice brine, and we put in our rotisserie, doing nice slow roast it till it's like golden brown on the outside. We baste it with honey and Chinese cooking wine, and then it gets chopped on the bone. It gets served a little seasoned soy, which has like soy sauce that's been cooked down with like ginger, scallion, and then on top is a ginger scallion relish, which is again super classic Chinese barbecue. It's meant to kind of cut the gaminess of duck or the gaminess of chicken or all the fattiness of the proteins. So it works so well with this chicken. My mouth is literally watering when I'm talking about this chicken. And then our roast pork belly back here. Often you see on Chinatown barbecue restaurants like almost a roasted whole half hog that's being hung. Like it's just like the midsection bone on with the ribs and the belly and the loin, and they chop that up. So what we do is we take pork belly itself, we cut it, dry in the fridge overnight, about 12 to 24 hours, so that skin is nice and dry. We poke the skin with little needles, so it's porous. So when you roast it, kind of all this moisture comes out and gets this crispy skin. We rub the skin down with a la kosher salt, slow roast until it's tender, and then take the salt cap off. And by then the skin is so dry that you crank the heat up, and all of a sudden it just becomes this very puff, very crispy skin on top. And the meat is like it's tender, but it's not falling apart. So it's got like that kind of steaky, like a really nice, good, juicy pork chop kind of texture. We like to serve a little bit of hoisin on the side. Again, hoisin and roast pork is very classic Chinese barbecue. So those are our two kind of non-smoked items that are on the menu. But again, we wanted those things on there just because it's just, you can't do a Chinatown barbecue restaurant without roast pork and chicken. So let's get into our smoke items. Our 5-spice smoked duck here. The duck is cured in 5-spice and for 12 to 24 hours. We slow smoke it in our lane smokers until, well, again, like breast and leg are also smoked differently. Breast just smoked enough till it's cooked through, and then the duck legs smoked till it's like super tender, because you want that to break down. You don't want like a chewy duck leg, right? We smoke it and then we crisp it to order in the fryer. so it gets that nice crispy skin. Again, this skin is like nice and super crispy. And then we season this kind of like same thing as the chicken. All poultry is kind of seasoned similarly in Chinatown. So just seasoned soy, again, and then scallion ginger relish. Again, that soy kind of umami flavor really helps with the fattiness of the duck. And it's same kind of thing with the scallion ginger relish. It really does like cut that fattiness down of the duck fat. So it's just really just pairs so well with the duck. The smoked duck is probably one of my favorite things on the menu. I don't think you can go anywhere else, anywhere in the States, and you'll find smoked duck. I want to say we're one of the very few restaurants that smoke our ducks. And our whole reason behind this whole restaurant, the most popular item on the restaurant, is our cha shao ribs, or barbecue ribs. Cha shao in Chinese means fork roast. So traditionally, they used to put they put the barbecue meats on what looks like a rake, and and cha means like a rake. So it's kind of funny like what cha shao is, but it's like very classic, right? So with the barbecue ribs, we got some spare ribs. So spare ribs, very classic Chinese food restaurant, right? Like there's baby backs, there's all the St. Louis, but I feel like you go to Chinatown, a Chinese restaurant, you want spare ribs because that's such a classic item. So we take spare ribs. We do not remove the skin underneath. We always keep that intact. I know a lot of people take this silver skin off the bottom of the rib because they think it's chewy. But what we like to do is keep it on because it retains so much more moisture in the rib. And this rib is tender, right? Like super tender, but it's not falling off the bone. I think a lot of people have the misconception of a super tender fall off the bone rib as being like a good rib, but for me, it's just a rib that I can just put the bone out is overcooked. You basically cook all the juices out of the rib, and it's done now. It's super tender. You don't have to chew it, but I like to chew my food. I like a little bite. I want meat to taste like meat. I want it to be steaky, right? I want it to be this is super tender. It'll pull right off, but it's not so mushy and lost all the flavors of the pork. You can still taste the pork on this dish. So these ribs, we don't cure these ribs because we tried curing before, and it gets like too almost hammy, right? So what we do is like right before it goes on the smoker, we season it with our AP rub, our 5-spice rub, and then we smoke it, get a really good smoke on there. And when we take it off, we slather it in this red glaze, which has a little bit of hoisin, lots of sugar. There is 5-spice in there as well, a little bit of MSG, because honestly, like, I'll just be honest, MSG makes everything good. Like a tiny bit doesn't hurt anybody, okay? So we glaze it in the barbecue glaze, which is kind of our barbecue sauce basically for this rib, and we wrap it in foil and we finish it in the auto shem for a few hours until it's just reached to the texture where it's nice and tender, but not falling off the bone. To me, that is an absolute perfect rib. And as far as barbecue sauce goes, we're in Carolina, so we're not gonna not make a mustard Q sauce, right? There's sweet reds, there's tangy reds, there's hot reds, there's vinegar Q, which we do use in our chopped pork, because that's also a very Carolina thing. But mustard Q reigns supreme in the Carolinas. It kind of depends on the restaurant you go to or the people that you talk to. People either like it super spicy or people like it mild. Some people like to use whole grain mustard in there as well. This is our version of Chinese mustard Q. So this is hot mustard Q. Instead of using just kind of Dijon or yellow mustard, we use Chinese hot mustard along with some Dijon mustard and some yellow mustard. And one of my favorite things to do in like a crappy American Chinese takeout restaurant is mixing the sweet and sour with the hot mustard together. So you get like this sweet tangy like from the sweet and sour sauce, but then you get like this punch in the nose, like wasabi hot mustard, shoot through the nose, clear your sinuses flavor. That's what this is. It's a mixture of those two flavors. So we sweeten it with a little pineapple juice, which is the predominant flavor in sweet and sour sauce. That's kind of our sweet element in here. A little bit of apple juice as well, a little vinegar. So what you get is like this nice balance of like super spicy mustard, but very nice sweetness finish on the back note. And this, you know, you go to a Chinese restaurant, you always want hot mustard, right? At least I do. So, and this hot mustard is perfect on all these proteins: the pork, the rib, the chicken, the duck. If you get the chopped pork, it's still really good on that as well. And it's kind of almost like an all-purpose hot sauce. You get your sweet, you get your spicy. But yeah, I love the Chinatown Delight just because, you know, you get all these different items in one plate. You're able to experience like what really is truly like the highlight of this restaurant, and like really shows you what our meaning behind Chinatown barbecue and Southern barbecue. You get the feel of both. So this is probably my favorite item on the menu. And this is a little bit of steamed bun, steamed lotus buns. They make a little and these are just soft Beijing style pancakes. They're very thin. They're thinner than a tortilla. If you're like me, I like to like rip some of the duck off and then sandwich it between here, a little mustard cube, a little hoisin. Same with the pancakes. You can either rip some chicken off or some of this duck off. Again, like you can put the pork belly in here. It's kind of like a build your own adventure kit over here. Just, you know, rip any barbecue meat and make a little sandwich or a little wrap. What's wrong with that?